Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we are returning for the first time in a while with Tatiana of Ginger, and this is her one-take vocal performance of Judgment and Punishment. After you guys saw me react to her harsh vocals for the first time, there have been just countless recommendations to check out more videos and performances from her, and this is one that was coming up a lot, so I figured let's give it a first-time pass. Guys, this is a reaction and analysis, so it will be my first time watching this video, but I also will be pausing to talk primarily about vocal technique as far as I know what's happening, because some of these harsh vocals is still a little bit outside my expertise as a professional opera singer. Really looking forward to this. Please leave a like, comment, subscribe. It's super helpful. Hit the bell. And if at the end of this you are appreciating Tatiana a little bit more, if you are appreciating any artist that I review more, please do consider joining my Patreon for as little as $1 a month. And without further ado, let's do it. This is just such a gnarly introduction. Also, what time signature are they in? It does not sound like a straight up 4/4. And I remember there were some comments after my last video. They were like, "Yeah, this band does like does stuff in like 7/8 and other like unusual time signatures often." So maybe we're getting some of that here. Could be 4/4, but it's definitely. We love cat content. Wait, just before we get into it, what a wild transition out of that into just like very stripped down instrumentation. A good reason for that could be, you know, from an audio engineering standpoint, to allow more space for the singer to come in, right? Especially right when the singer comes in, you really want to be able to hear all the vocal qualities that that singer is bringing to the table. If the singer is competing with a really heavy instrumentation, it's tougher to kind of get a feel for their voice. They did something similar in the last video I watched. Pisces was the name of it, where when she was doing her harsh vocals, there was a lot of action happening, and when she was doing her clean vocals, there was much less happening in the background, and that tracks with what I was just saying. It's, you know, competition for headspace in the mix, really.
We came from the land where kindness equals weakness. Feelings are conditional, and help is something supernatural.
So for the most part, very clean vocals here. It's amazing how clean she can go and how harsh she can go. All, you know, technique based. Like, you can sing cleanly and you can learn how to really activate those false folds when you want to. I've been working on it just for fun, honestly, since hearing some of this kinds of music. It's been really a fun journey for me, trying to balance that with, you know, the hyper clean, hyper efficient vocals you need for the opera world. It's been an exciting journey, and, you know, someone that does that so well is Tatiana. Right here, we get to see it firsthand and up close. So it comes out really clean. She hints towards putting grit in the sound just for like one moment, but then continues with that kind of clean phonation.
We came from the land where kindness equals weakness. Feelings are conditional, and help is something.
Help on that one. She puts a little bit of grit in the sound. And also, when I watched the last one, I was talking about, I got to see like the complete contrast, like super clean with super harsh vocals, and I wanted to see something in the middle. What she just did on Help is something in the middle. There is grit in the sound, but it's not like full false fold activation.
Feelings are conditional, and help is something super supernatural. Your judgment,
There we go.
son, your own punishment. Your judgment, son, your own punishment.
It's amazing to me, and I've been listening to more of this kinds of stuff. I think by this time my video on Alex Terrible will be out with Slaughter to Prevail. Absolutely insane harsh vocals there, and just so cool. And then you hear his speaking voice, and he's like a pretty light voiced like baritone, like maybe even a higher sitting baritone. And then he does these like absolutely crazy like lion roar growls, and you're like, it's just a totally different mechanism from his speaking voice, which is the truth. This sounds a little, her harsh vocals here sound a little higher pitched than they sounded in the first one I listened to. I remember that was what was so shocking about those, was they just were so much lower than I was expecting. And harsh vocals already sound lower because of the false fold activation. That actually creates undertones in the sound. So even when you're singing pretty high with false fold activation or other harsh vocals, it sounds lower than it is. It never sounds as high as clean phonation. Here we get a little bit higher, and I think it sounds like there's a little more air coming through the sound as well. So you get a little more of that like kind of a little bit edging towards the more screamo style that is mostly air that's coming through the vocal folds. When you do like screamo, those much higher pitched phonations, there's a lot more air coming through. And she hints a little bit towards that at one point in this harsh vocal section as well.
And help is something supernatural. Your judgment, son, your own punishment. Your judgment, son, your own punishment.
It's even hard to tell pitch. It's really hard to tell because it's so far from pure phonation that pitch is actually really difficult to determine when someone's singing with pure false fold activation, which I think is what she's doing. I don't think the true folds are really involved much at all in this kind of singing. Also, what I was mentioning earlier with the mix from the audio engineering standpoint, right? When she comes in hot with the harsh vocals, the band is also letting it rip because there's just a lot of noise, and there's a lot of noise in the sound, and they kind of go well together, whereas the clean phonation fits better stylistically, artistically, and then from an engineering standpoint with the more stripped down backgrounds.
Yes, it is what it is. I know
So you can hear now, like her voice now with everything happening in the background while she's doing the clean phonation it's just harder to hear. It's actually harder to hear detail in the voice when there's so much else going on compared, if you just compare this balance here to what we heard in the first verse. Really interesting. So I'm glad that without me knowing, this song is kind of highlighting the points I was making earlier about, those balances. That's up to a D above tenor high C. That's a D5 there. Pure chest voice, of course. She's wicked good at belting. She has some pretty high belting in Pisces as well, I think. In those riffs, you'll notice some of the riffs she accentuates using jaw motion. Ha ha. That's actually a really good technique, I think, to accentuate the pitches in the riff to make them sound really clean. And she used a kind of sound, like a rearticulation, I believe, when she was ascending after she did that pulsing going down. So two different ways you can accentuate and highlight the specific notes used in a vocal riff. Now you're mine. So that's the one going down. Not believe believe, like putting some H's in there, again, to like re-articulate the sound and make those notes clearer. I'm just gonna 2 chord progression. I think we're just going to the one and the 4. Doom. 1 and 5. Doom, 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 doom. Just E to B. And again here, now her voice, the more details about it are clearer and easier to hear now that there is less happening. There's less madness happening in the background. It's all, you know, it's a whole balancing act. Putting a produced song together is a balancing act.
An individual with bitter in the world is a cause of deficiency of goodness and love, of goodness and love. All your good intentions are muted and disabled. Booyah! Tell me what you're gonna bring.
There's some true fold grit, a little bit there.
I'm muted and disabled. Booyah! Tell me what you're gonna bring to the table. Do you know?
Down to that table. Down to this E, E3, right? I'm demonstrating an octave down because bass. But down to E3 and sounded solid down there, and that is getting quite low for a female vocalist.
Tell me what you're gonna bring to the table.
Table. Yeah, solid.
Booyah!
Maybe even a little bit below
Tell
that.
me what you're gonna bring to the table.
Table. She actually gets down for actually a pretty like breathy. That's clearly where she's kind of bottoming out in her chest voice, but down to a D3, which is very low to be able to phonate down there at all as a female singer, and especially to use it in a song.
Booyah! Tell me what you're gonna bring to the table. Do you know we're gonna eat at the same table? This is what it is. I know you're pissed off, narrow minds, cannot believe.
Just a great belt on that line of high Ds. Just really, really nice, really high efficiency in the vocal fold closure, right? There's no extra air coming through, no extra breath. It's just pure tone with a lot of edge to it, a lot of cut in the sound. Awesome.
This is what it is. I know you're pissed off, narrow minds, cannot believe in what they hear. Your system of beliefs, experiences straight.
I got distracted by how sick the bass line is in this bass guitar. Just like going all over the place. I gotta back it up and listen to that.
This is what it is. I know you're pissed off, narrow minds, cannot believe in what they hear. Your system of beliefs,
There it is.
experiences straight.
Sick.
Mental and penitence, put into the tale.
I know, let me see what she was doing the last few seconds that I missed. Yeah, it's like still sick, but pretty chill, but then at one point it just goes, just like goes all over the place. So sick.
Your system of beliefs, experiences straight. Mental
There's another articulation with that ha.
experiences straight. Mental and penitence, put into the test.
Here we go. It is still, even though I'm listening to more of this stuff, it is still amazing. It's still shocking to see it come out of her. Again, this part more than the first part sounds lower pitched again. And like if I closed my eyes and was listening, I would not know if it was a male or female lead singer. For real. Like it's got that darker, warmer, like larger pharyngeal space quality of like a natural male voice. But, you know, she did get down to a D3 in pure chest earlier, which is like, that's in that range. So, like, she clearly has a natural low voice. And I think it might aid in giving her that darker, like, when you watch her and hear it, it seems inhuman.
So if you were here to figure out myself there, talk about the brother, talk about the brother, the power of speech. Yes, I don't know why. Was it a spell? Time mouse die.
Oh, I love that. I love that. Yeah, really tough to tell pitch. I was trying to like hear pitch, but because turbulence to the vocal folds and harsh vocals come out as the actual technical term is noise, meaning it's non-periodic sound waves. Periodic sound waves come out as tone, so that gives you frequency, that gives you pitch. Whereas there's not really pitch in there. If you get really consistent, you can get pretty close. Like her voice is kind of as close as you can get to tone using a phonation with a ton of noise in the signal. But it's really hard to tell. It's just hard to tell what pitch, you know, she would be singing if she wasn't using the false fold activation. So I was trying to hear it. I'm honestly not sure. Honestly not sure. It's higher than it sounds, though. For sure, it is higher than it sounds. I can guarantee that much. Like that sounds to me like it is. If she was singing it like a high chest voice belt, it would be an F5. But it's pure false fold activation, I think. No true folds at all. So it's all noise. And because the false folds vibrate at half the speed of true folds, it really sounds at least an octave lower. It's very fascinating. This is the first time I've kind of thought about that aspect of this kind of singing. But to me, that last pitch, that really high one, sounds like she's singing an F5 if she were singing a clean, pure, true fold belt. But because she's doing harsh vocals and not any of that, it's very difficult to say. It is amazing to me just like how long these singers can do this kind of singing, how sustainably they can do it for like full concerts, full shows. Like it is so tiring when you first start out. Like I've gotten a lot of endurance compared to when I started, and I still do not do it for long periods of time. Certainly not a whole song, much less a whole concert. So it is amazing to me. You can train that musculature like you can train anything else to really have a lot of endurance and maintain the power and integrity of the sound the whole time and not hurt your voice. Another amazing aspect of it. She rounds the lips a little bit and lengthens the vocal tract to give a little bit even more of that darker sound right there just for the last few words. It's cool to see that because that's a technique, you know, I'm very used to doing in all kinds of genres, but it's cool to see it also, you know, vowel shaping to add a certain color even when using harsh vocals.
That's exactly what makes us go even further.
Just like that at the end.
This is what it is. Another fist of narrow minds.
And then just totally clean. Just like totally clean. So cool. Is this the same song that I listened to earlier? It just seems very similar. It's gonna be really funny if I get to the end of this video and realize it's the same one. We'll see. It sounds similar just in how it's structured, like clean, like they go back and forth, but we'll find out. It'll be funny if that's the case.
Another fist of narrow minds. Cannot believe in what they hear. The system of beliefs, experience and stress, mental and penitent, put into the test.
Yeah, just wild that she goes so cleanly from the really, really harsh vocals back to the perfectly clean vocals, you know, on a dime. And no grit comes into the sound when she's doing the clean vocals, and no clean vocals get into the sound when she's doing the harsh vocals. It's just like a perfect dichotomy there.
Stress, mental and penitent, put into the test.
Your judgment for your own punishment. Your judgment, your punishment.
What? Yo, so sick. I'm like, this sounds so... I mean, I watched it, you know, must be 4 or 5 months ago at this point. That's the only song I've seen from Tatiana and Ginger, so it would be really funny if I just did a reaction to the same song in a different setting. We'll see. I'm about to find out. I'm probably going to post it either way, though, because, you know, insight here and there. But I hope you guys enjoyed. Hope you learned something. Hope you gained appreciation for this amazing artist and this band. Please do leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe, hit the bell. And if I enhanced your learning experience, please do consider joining my Patreon for as little as $1 a month. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.